After stumbling midweek against the Charleston Battery of Mike Anhauser, Ryan Martin and Loudoun United return home to the comfortable confines of Segra Field here in Leesburg, Virginia, to welcome Ottawa Fury FC and Nikola Popovic to town. Tonight's game presented by Segra. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. So glad to have you with us on a spectacular Saturday evening here in the DMV. And as we take a look at the Eastern Conference table, Devin, Ottawa with a very good opportunity to gain some grounds on the likes of Louisville, North Carolina, Indy 11. Meanwhile, Loudoun United struggling and then some starving for 3 points.
6-point swing for teams in the top 10, and that is definitely going to be the likes of Ottawa Fury taking on Loudoun United. Especially for me, it's the Lou City Charleston Battery game. That is going to be one of the biggest matchups today. You have to keep an eye on it in the back of your mind, but more importantly for Popovic, you got to go after Loudoun United. Loudoun United, you are reaching that point of no return. There is no more gray area. You have to go out and get 3 points.
And while their form has been poor, the positive has been in the second half. However, with that comes a double-edged sword in the sense that they're usually playing from behind.
It's a 20, 25-minute, 30-minute gap where Ryan Martin's boys just kind of switch off, to be honest. That's where you have to rely on your veterans. You got to get Gordon Wild. I understand he's a rookie coming out of college, but he's got a lot of pedigree behind him. Sasha Skorowski breeds the best out of Maryland. How about Carlos Alvarez sitting in the number 10? Find a way to get those guys going a bit more prolific on the offensive side of things and teach these youngsters that we don't necessarily have to turn on in the second half when we look so good in the opening 45.
And for the visitors in Ottawa Fury FC, they joined the USL Championship a couple years ago, still looking for their first ever postseason berth in this league. And with the numbers, that being said, Devin, this looks like it might be the year.
Goal differential is the easy talking point, but let's break that down a bit further. 32 goals for, only 31 in the 2018 campaign. 22 goals against, 43 last year. Oh, by the way, 13 games down the stretch for this squad. That man right there, Carl Howarth, coming into the season said we would be relevant, we will make the playoffs. He would like his soothsaying abilities to come true.
Well, with the addition of Haji Berry and with the likes of Cristiano Francois and Kevin Oliveira, definitely one of the more dynamic attacking fronts, but they're looking to put it all together. Meanwhile, Loudoun United desperate for 3 points if they do want to make the postseason. It's Loudoun and Ottawa when we come back.
Stop running VAR.
Lauren Varga and company lead out the two sides in Loudoun United and Ottawa Fury as we have a good one on our hands here at Segra Field in Leesburg, Virginia, as these two sides are going to duke it out for a big 3 points. And we'll take a look at the starting 11s for both Nikola Popovic and Ryan Martin. Let's start with the visitors, Devin. What are we looking at?
One of the odder things that you'll ever see from this 4-3-3 of Nikola Popovic's squad. Number 6, Chris Manila moving into the back line. Now, this is the lineup card we've been turned in. We have to trust it. Interesting. I mean, that's the only thing you can say about it. For a guy that deploys his efforts in the middle of the field, that's what it should be. Maxime Tissot, he'll be at the left back position. That's his first start of the season. It'll be his 6th overall appearance, but the first time he's made it in the starting 11. And of course, Haji Berry up top. That'll be his first start. He got 45 minutes versus Birmingham.
And these starting lineups are brought to you by the National Conference Center. Meanwhile, for Loudoun United, they didn't get a great shift out of their central midfielders. However, Gary's going to get another start alongside another youngster, Moses Nyman.
Griffin Yao pretty much is going to stay on the left-hand side, but you will see some interchange between Carlos Alvarez in the 10 spot, Gordon Wild out on the right. They rotate back and forth a lot. Nelson Martinez is an interesting one. He could be the wild card, rotating to the outside back position. Really like what Jacob Green has been able to do at the left back. He's an academy player with DC United, but his repetition for the U.S. Youth National Team at the 14s and 16, he's done well with the opportunities he's been given.
And Jacob Green actually started in that 3-0 win over the back-to-back champions in Louisville City FC. Louisville really couldn't figure out the 16-year-old. He did extremely well. Let's talk about Ottawa for a second, Devin, because this is a side, by all accounts, when you look up and down their lineup, there's just a boatload of talent and experience in this league as well in the winning variety. Nikola Popovic is an excellent coach. He brought Swope Park Rangers to a USL Cup final. What are they missing to take that next step?
Nothing. Healthy squad. Here's why. We like to compare 2018 to 2019. Nikola Popovic coming over from Swope Park Rangers. He wanted to play a certain way. You're starting to see it right now. He couldn't do it last year. He had to be much more direct, play the hand that was dealt him because he came in late and really couldn't chase a lot of players. Players like Haji Berry. He wanted to go after Haji Berry after the 2017 Swope Park system. And he said, you know what, let me bring him in here with us. He ends up coming to Ottawa, couldn't bring him in, Swope Park gets him, but now he's the benefactor after Haji Berry steps over to the side. You get guys like Charlie Ward sit in the middle of the field. He thinks he might be the most vital piece to this attack going forward. His number 6, who is the most efficient passer on the ball in all of USL Championship. Let me repeat that. The most efficient passer coming out of midfield on the ball in all of the league. He is so amazing going forward. You'll see him sit very deep in between the center backs and really get this attack going forward, looking for guys like Lapre and Wallfall who can help move into the front 3.
And for Loudoun United, if they are not to get a single point out of tonight's match, are their playoff hopes done and dusted?
Yes. Very, very simple, and here's why. Because you have so many teams above them, you'll think, oh, we can remain within striking distance. However, you're going to get, if Ottawa gets points, they move 3 further. Birmingham Legion gets an opportunity. Charleston Battery taking on Louisville. We talked about that. Everybody in front of you, Charleston Battery's already 11 points ahead. If they win, they jump to 34. If Louisville loses, they're still at 34. So you're still 14 points away. With that many games left, it's just, I can't see them chasing them down any further. We said a couple matches ago that they had to kick in gear. You have officially reached the point where you have to get wins. And in order to do that, start the game fast. Go out early and make an example of the opposition you don't want to chase like we've seen recently.
Well, it looks like Lauren Varga is just about ready. He is. We hope you're ready as well. We invite you to turn off the world and turn on the game. 3 points up for grabs here in Leesburg, Virginia at Segra Field. As part of a 3-game homestand for Loudoun United. They were unable to get points as this one is loose in front. And how about that for a quick start from the home side in Loudoun United? It's Gordon Wild in the first 15 seconds. You wanted a fast start. They gave it to you. Loudoun 1, Ottawa 0.
Ask and you shall receive. This is what Ryan Martin's boys have been missing all season long, even before he stepped in at the helm. Ball across, miscommunication. Boskovic can't get it right. Callum Irving doesn't come off his line. Gordon Wild says, I'll take that. Thank you very much. Celebrating with his boys all the way to the bank. Plenty of time left in this match, but just like that, they've got the early momentum.
One of the quickest goals you will ever see. Gordon Wild, a lightning strike for Ryan Martin and Loudoun United. His 3rd goal this season. And just like that, the home side takes an early lead. Unbelievable. Usually the first 20 to 25 seconds of a game are reserved for trying to get a storyline in or two. I do apologize if that bled into the Gordon Wild goal, but pretty incredible, especially given all of the struggles that they've had to start out games. And while we have a moment, let's take a look at tonight's injury report brought to you by Orthro Virginia before any other early goals might pop up. Nothing doing for Loudoun United. More Sam and Nana Adakora unavailable for Ottawa Fury. So how do the visitors respond? Cristiano Francois With a good little shimmy and a shake out wide, and a corner kick coming up for the visitors who hail from Canada.
Well done to immediately throw some punches in the other direction. It's Cristiano Francois, who they will look to get the ball out in front of. He and Kevin Oliveira love to play this very direct game, and now they have quite a technical player in the likes of Haji Berry they can play off of. Nice, tall in stature they can knock the long balls into, but more importantly, playing that three-man triangle once they move over half field.
Francois trying to bring it down, taken away by Carlos Alvarez. Numbers the other way for Loudoun United if they hurry. Along for Griffin Yao, here comes the 16-year-old. Pushes it along the other direction, Moses Nyman. Peels it back, finds Yao. He likes to hit it from here, he tried to do so, but it was blocked in front. Wide open start to this one. Wall Fall able to settle it down. Here's Haji Berry. Looking for an opportunity to peel it back, now finding Chris Manella. Pressure from behind by Elvis Amo. Ryan Martin pointing in the direction of Loudoun United. And there is the first-year manager who joined, I don't even want to say mid-season because Richie Williams wasn't around, for the first half of the season. Joined probably after the first third as Alvarez trying to knock it out wide for Yao. Alvarez will settle things down and the home side will enjoy a solid spell of possession here. Saw a lot of that against the Charleston Battery, but wasn't all that purposeful, the possession that they were able to accrue.
I was really impressed by the shift that number 53, Jeremy, put in. Fortunately, didn't necessarily have a lot of support in that area. Did quite well for himself in midfield, and someone with a bit more experience, hard to believe, with Moses Nyman when he's only in his mid-teenage years. 8th appearance on the year, another one of the DC United Academy players. A lot of rotation for Ryan Martin's squad tonight. They finally get number 8, the striker they picked up just a few weeks ago, Elvis Amo, back. He had a bit of a head injury. They had to nurse him back into it. All the changes going on right now, and there's Earl Edwards Jr. just barking at our referee so far. Ryan Martin doing the same on the sideline with the 4th official.
You continue to hear Ryan Martin picked up by our crowd mic saying it's not good enough to the 4th official and his crew. Oliveira is trying to put it on frame and goes out of play for Earl Edwards Jr. But Devin, when you look at this attacking front for Ottawa Fury, just in terms of name recognition within this league, are there 3 that jump off the page more than that?
Not together. And when you combine all these guys and what they've done in their previous stops, now an opportunity with a manager that has some of the highest regard in all of the league, Nikola Popovic. And talking to him about that, I just said, you know, we reference specific pieces like Kevin Oliveira. I already brought up Charlie Ward and what he can do in the middle of the field, how important he is. But it's more so the philosophies that he was trying to put into place and couldn't necessarily do them in an immediate fashion in 2018. Said it takes time to build the type of culture that I'm trying to go after. Quite proud of what I've done over the past year and a half or so. And now some of those pieces that we wanted to go get, more Sam, Haji Berry, are finally coming back in. Charlie Ward was the guy that was really regarded by Nikola Popovic with his time at Swope Park Rangers. Of course, Ward was at that point in time, jumping back and forth with RGV and Houston Dynamo. And he knew that this is what he wanted to do, basically replicating similar system to what went on with the Swope Park Rangers, some tweaks here and there to make it his own, and finally starting to pay dividends.
Here is Moses Nyman. It's not a bad idea for Carlos Alvarez, and Carl Howarth has to come over and clean the pieces up. Tissot lets it bounce and allows Elvis Amo to get there. Wild finding Nyman. Here's Amo, cross takes a deflection. And out comes Callum Irving to collect. Throws it out quickly for the captain and Carl Howarth. Ottawa team coming off of a bye week can always be a tricky one, especially starting off a game. And if the opening goal from Gordon Wilde in the first 15 seconds doesn't tell that story, I don't know what will. So Martinez having to track it down and avoids the corner, but does give Ottawa Fury possession deep in Loudoun United territory. Taken away by Loudoun United. Here's Elvis Amo. Just dumps it into space, hoping that Carlos Alvarez will be able to get there. 1v1 with Chris Manella. Trying to get it over for Yao, but it's a lazy pass. Might have took a deflection. Now it's Oliveira. Oliveira driving forward. Over for Haji Berry. Offside flag is up.
This isn't to the fault of Haji Berry. This ball has to be released sooner by Kevin Oliveira. You can see the frustration on the face of Haji Berry, and it's a good little run forward. Transitional play always going to be the topic of conversation for Nikola Popovic's boys. Right now, play it. 2, 3, 4 extra touches, just so unnecessary. And look at the youngsters on the back line, very composed coming down the stretch. They recognize that there's a lot of space on the near touch line, but if they hold a tight line and just take a quick little step up, he'll be in an offside position, and they execute it to a T.
Looks like the offside flag is up on Elvis Amo. Maxime Tissot. Yao hits the deck. Some Loudoun United supporters wanting a foul called. Nothing given by Lauren Farga. Now it's wall fall. Tissot thought about the shot initially. Daniel Lapare out wide for Haji Berry. Recently acquired by Ottawa Fury. Good sliding challenge by Nelson Martinez. Ball stays in play as well. Really well done. Moses Nyman with a bit of work to do, though, putting himself in some hot water, but somehow keeps the ball in play and clears it away from immediate danger. This young back line of Loudoun United is going to have a lot of work to do tonight, but they've been able to put in a good shift so far.
The issue for them is never going to be talent, and they have a load of it. It's communication. Can you get youngsters and the likes of Alexan Saravia and Nelson Martinez on the right, Harry Hawkins in the middle, Jacob Green we talked about earlier. Loads of talent both at the club and international level, but sometimes when you have so many rotating pieces, a la tonight's starting 11 to the tune of 8 different changes, you can let your form get away from you. You just have to stay in constant communication with each other, making sure the tiniest of details is always accounted for.
Ball fall, long for Francois. Flipped in by Howarth. Good ball. Tissot back into the middle looking for Haji Berry. Back into the mixer again. Fall waiting at the back post. Waits to hit it, still waits. Now pulls it back for Francois, and it's a swing and a miss. Late challenge by Elvis Samo. And that'll most certainly be a card. Dozen minutes gone by, Elvis Samo goes into the book. I can't imagine that Ottawa is asking for a red card. It certainly was a dangerous challenge, but not necessarily sure if it warranted a red.
There's brute force behind this, coming back across, and 100% a foul. If the referee doesn't give the yellow, I understand it's early on in the game. You and I talk about this on a regular basis. If you're going to call it in the opening 15 minutes, you need to call it in the 60th minute. So good precedent being sent here by our center ref, going forward by Varga.
Decent set piece opportunity, especially with the delivery of Carl Howarth at the disposal of Ottawa. Not his best, though. Now it's Wall Fall over on the far sideline. And the work rate from Elvis Samo has been really impressive in the opening 13 and a half minutes or so. He's covered a lot of ground, especially playing in a much more advanced role. '27-year-old from Accra, Ghana. We'll go back to Loudoun United. Devin, right now, do you think Ottawa Fury will be inside the playoff cutoff line on the third week of October, as it was a handball called on Haji Berry?
I'm less concerned with them than I am some of the others atop the Eastern Conference right now. You and I have had that conversation. When you look at overall form, I get it. They've only got one win in their last 6. They only have one loss, though, too.
And then Alvarez trying to put it into the path of Gordon Wild. Irving read it well.
And you get other teams like the Charleston Battery. Outside of their recent win over Loudoun, they had, what, 2 wins in their previous 13. And for me, it's the body of work for Ottawa as well. Some of the teams that they've taken on and looked really impressive against.
Howard pulls it back. Francois looking for Oliveira. Ottawa starting to play some much better football now. Asserting their dominance much more. Seemed to so. Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé. Manella in for Wall Fall. Just helps it along. Bit of a hospital ball, but positive first touch from Carl Howarth cleans it up, showing a bit too much to Moses Nyman. Good little fake from the youngster. Trying along for Griffin Yao. Back, Gagnon-Laparé was there. Oliveira now goes for the curler. Easy enough for Earl Edwards Jr.
Not a bad idea here from Oliveira. Sees a tiny window and he wants to take it. Problem is there's not enough pace behind the ball to truly challenge Earl Edwards Jr. And this is what they brought Amo in for. They want quick balls out into him, distribution going up, use him as a target man, but also really stretch the back line and allow the supporting cast to come in behind him.
Foul's going to go against Elvis Samo, but we'll take a look at that Kevin Oliveira chance. Not a bad effort. And Elvis Samo on the other end. He needs to be careful, already sitting on a yellow.
Back-to-back challenges as well. A little 1-2 punch on the man who picked up a yellow card in the 13th minute.
Howarth in for Haji Berry. That was a great chance. But the glancing header, bit too much glance on it. Goes well wide. That's the kind of action that Nikola Popovic is looking for.
It's the dual threat for Haji Berry we talked about. Said that he can be the point man, you play off of him, but the aerial threat is right there. in terms of his ability to finish things off. Quick little ball into the back post, and why not, especially when you're going up against some of the smaller statured players coming out of the academy.
Griffin Yao somehow staying with it. Long for Mo, back for Yao. Plenty of space for the teenager. Yao lets it loose, and Callum Irving able to keep it in front of him. Good looking move there from Loudoun United on the counter. Excellent interplay between Mo and Griffin Yao.
You need these relationships to continue to prosper if you want to go on a playoff run like we talked about. Just sweet little 1-2 playing off of each other. Griffin Yao did a good job to come inside and then allow the second ball to be played into him.
Here's Francois on the other end. End-to-end action here at Segra as this goes all the way across the face of goal. And the Haitian with a mean look. He has been determined ever since Gordon Wild put in that opening goal in the first 15 seconds.
Looks like everybody's trying to get things going early on. Charleston Battery up 1-0 on Louisville City. Opening 10 minutes there.
Oh, that would be a huge win for Mike Anhauser's side that has had a bizarre schedule between bus crashes and games postponed galore. Trying to get back to some sense of normalcy. They were here on Wednesday night at Segra Field, came away with a 2-1 win despite a late rally from Loudoun United, getting a goal in the last 10 minutes from Orlando Sinclair, and then there was a flurry right in front of Phil Brino in the final seconds. As Griffin Yao pulls it back for Loudoun United. Moses Nyman now a little bit of space. Jeremy Gary. Harry Hawkins registered the first ever Loudoun United goal here at Segra. The first goal ever, regardless of team, belongs to Valentin Sabella.
I like this kid, Gary. Good player. He's a guy who's regularly getting repetitions. To give you an idea on his age with the U16, U17s of the DC United Academy. We talked about the international experience, but just watch him when he's off the ball. Obviously, the nice little touches side to side are impressive, but it's his ability to recognize all the space around him, closing down guys like Wallfall, then dropping back to help out Nyman.
Francois onside, tried to put it across for Haji Berry. It was the wrong decision in the end. Definitely should have pulled the trigger. Gordon Wild is fouled.
Funny how you hit the earlier one, and this time you elect to pass it right back across. Better opportunity, just put some pace behind this ball. It gets closed down, and once again, the fact that he doesn't make the decision quick enough, it makes the difficulty of the pass being played back across that much harder. You are starting to see some better movements coming out of the front three. What you'd really like to see is some of the movements coming out of the middle. Find a way to get Wallfall and Gagnon Laparé pushing up high. You'll see that intermittent press, and so far, Loudoun United done well playing out of it.
Gary playing out of pressure. Hawkins showed a bit too much of that. Might allow Ottawa to counter on the other end. Gagnon Laparé is lofts one over the top, hoping for Francois. Awkward bounce for Harry Hawkins. Ball got a touch. Picked up by the Haitian Francois. Former Rochester Rhino going to work. Back for Francois. Sends it across, but Oliveira was a bit tardy arriving to the party, and looks like it'll go out for Loudoun United throw-in.
He doesn't agree that he's got no support on the back post here. Felt like the run should have come sooner from Oliveira. Najee Berry, Oliveira, and Francois just mincing words so far a little bit up front, as according to the USL Championship, that is the best dressed man in all the land.
You agree with that?
Yeah, it's hard for me to disagree. There's a couple others that are pretty strong talking points, to be fair.
So subjective.
Yeah, it's who's to say your goth style doesn't translate to the playing ground, you know? Hot Topic is not for everyone. It is for you, but
Don't yuck somebody else's yum.
I love Hot Topic.
I know you do. Hot Topic, Spencer's Gifts. Now it's Francois driving forward with a lot of purpose here. Good ball in, looking for Oliveira, and that's an excellent goal from Ottawa Fury to respond to Gordon Wilds. That came in the 15-second mark. Kevin Oliveira, all he had to do was tap it home because the ball coming in from Francois was absolutely delectable. 1-1 here in Leesburg, Virginia.
Everything was about decision-making for this front three going forward. Francois just a moment ago barking orders at the other two boys. To be fair, he had to be quicker in his actions. Lovely ball played back across. And look at Oliveira right on the doorstep. Just a quick little cup of tea, taps it in the back of the net, and these boys want to get back to work.
Well, despite a couple of flurries from Loudoun United, it has been a lot of Ottawa Fury attacks. And Kevin Oliveira finally able to get Ottawa up on the board, and we're level at 1. Comes Griffin Yao on the other end. Maybe a few too many touches. Francois switching the point of attack. Maxime Tussaud now. He'll have it. Montreal Academy product, 27 years of age from Quebec. In his second stint with Ottawa. Not a bad idea to hit it from that distance. Certainly had a lot of knuckling action on it, but didn't quite get down in time. Nyman trying to escape from Gagnon Laparé. Well, 25 minutes gone here at Segra Field, 1-1. Goals coming from Gordon Wild and most recently Kevin Oliveira. Haji Berry being told to press. Earl Edwards Jr. We'll get rid of it with that pending pressure. Oliveira able to get there, drops it off for Wallfall, back for Oliveira, offside. Haji Berry scuffed the finish anyway. It would have been some really pretty football from Ottawa had they connected and had Oliveira been onside.
The back line gets a little confused as Haji Berry just walking back here, noticing that he's in an offside position. Nelson Martinez then doesn't account for the overlapping run. There's Wallfall. When they play this high press, it's a long ball coming out of the back. And it's always going to be the second or third. You see Carl Hauer stepping up, does a good job to win the initial challenge. And then, what is the response going to be from your front three? Popovich happy with his boys' efforts. Questionable offside decision.
Nyman's pass deflected by Charlie Ward. Haji Berry putting the brakes on. Carl Howarth with a poor pass in for Wallfall. Here comes Elvis Amo on the other end. Loudoun United looking to take the lead back, and Elvis Amo skied it. Well, they really put Ottawa under pressure after the mistake from Howarth, but Elvis Amo cannot capitalize.
One of the things you deal with the number 9 that has not had a lot of regular gameplay, he can question his own decision-making. This is the right decision, but it affects his form. He's trying to go with pace, challenge 2 attackers on his right side and creeping back in the defensive efforts, and Callum Irving occupying the near post as well.
Wallfall from distance, and a good save from Earl Edwards Jr. Wallfall trying to beat him at the near post. Edwards not having any of it. And a corner kick coming up for Ottawa. But it has been all Nikola Popovich's side.
It's pretty impressive from distance. This is what the German can give you. Quick little touch up. Look, perfect form. Knee right over the top of the ball. You can see barely any rotation on it. Always moving to the left of Earl Edwards Jr.
Ensuing corner from the visitors. It'll come out the other way. Score updates from around the Eastern Conference. Charlotte and Nashville from the Sportsplex at Matthews tied 1-1. NCFC 1-0 over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds at halftime. Charleston Battery still lead over the back-to-back champs in Louisville City FC in the 17th minute. And of course 1-1 right here at Segra. Birmingham Legion and Memphis 901 FC as Legion looking to continue their playoff hopes against the Memphis 901 FC side that you can basically count out at this point. And then it'll be the West Coast slate. Alvarez's pass pinballed around a little bit. Griffin Yao gets it along for Jacob Green. He sends it in, but nobody there. Nikola Popovic barking orders from the technical area. Maxime Tissot leading the charge. It's a bit stagnant from Ottawa. And Tissot forced to put the brakes on. Gagnon Laparé shrugs off Moses Nyman. Tissot bending one in. Dangerous ball cleared right to Haji Berry. Now Nelson Martinez forced to clean it up.
There's a good shout from Popovic on the left-hand side. He was asking Haji Berry to come inside. He wanted the movement going forward to have all this space to run at on the left side of the pitch. With Haji Berry tucking himself back in, he takes the runner with him, and you make a center back come out and really go after the attacker from Ottawa Fury. The minute that Berry comes to the near touchline, it slows everything back down, and you have to reorganize yourself.
Gary in for Nyman, touches it along for Griffin Yao. Couldn't get out of trouble though. Oliveira has a darting Cristiano Francois. Great ball going the other way. Haji Berry in the penalty area. Francois with great pace and finishes it off for Ottawa. Cristiano Francois orchestrated the first goal. Now finished this one off with absolute authority. It's brilliant from the Haitian. Terrific from Ottawa. They lead 2-1.
Quality recognition here by Ottawa Fury, playing out of the middle. The distribution down into the channel dissects the entire back line of Loudoun United. Harry Hawkins trailing just at the end of this. There's a back post run that keeps the other two defenders for Loudoun honest. Haji Berry right there occupies Nelson Martinez, who can't come over and help out Hawkins. One-on-one situation with the goalkeeper. Francois has been a part of 2 goals and the better span of 7 minutes.
Cristiano Francois now tied for the team lead in the goal department with Wallfall and more Sam.
Do you remember which one just, oh, I know. 17. Thank you. Got it.
So we'll have a hydration break. Cristiano Francois putting his Haitian stamp on this one. Goal and assist. He's been brilliant. And for Loudoun United, there's just been a couple of occasions where they've given the ball away in some really precarious areas, in Ottawa, with all the attacking prowess that they have at their disposal, have made them pay and then some.
How about Popovic having a conversation here, still teaching his boys going forward, knowing that they have to be better in their movements. A lot of opportunities out there for the visitors. And to be fair, opening 15, 20 minutes really wasn't that impressive. Poor decision-making once they moved into the final third, and that's the conversation he's having right now. Although you're seeing some really impressive movement out of Francois, you'd like to get Haji Berry involved going forward a bit more. And that'll obviously come with time as he's still getting acclimated into this environment. It is his new squad since going overseas. There's room to be had in the middle of the field, and Laparé, Wallfall all starting to get involved in the attack a bit more, really challenging the youngsters in the middle of the field, and Nyman and Garay.
Loudoun Stampede trying to get involved and do their part. Loudoun United is the chant, but they're going to need to walk the walk, Ryan Martin's group. And right now, trailing an Ottawa side that really has been dominating this game outside of the first 15 seconds when Gordon Wild scored the first goal of the game. And we'll resume after the hydration break. Harry Hawkins dumping one in behind. Elvis Amo putting the pressure on. Field back for Griffin Yao. Again, the youngster putting himself in some hot water, but good work rate to win it back. Alvarez a bit overzealous trying to win the ball back. Carlos, of course, the older brother of Efrain Alvarez of Los Angeles Galaxy. And Efrain is also featured for Los Dos over the past few years, but starting to get more and more playing time with the MLS side, learning from the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the art of scoring goals in the attacking third. Here comes Ottawa again with the pressure. Carl Howard took a shot, and Lauren Varga is going to stop the play. Is that new from Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé? The G-Laparé?
I got to be honest, I stopped stalking him a couple weeks ago, so I'm not exactly sure what the back of his jersey has looked like recently. It's definitely a different look. How about the look on Howard?
Excuse me, that's Charlie Ward.
Howard. Yeah, it's Charlie Ward coming out of the middle. Elvis Amo has to be careful. He is the one who picked up that yellow card, and then had another challenge immediately after that. And there is their conductor. The symphony that is Ottawa Fury and the brainchild of Nikola Popovic says that there is probably no other player on the pitch that is more vital to this squad than Charlie Ward in that holding number 6 position. A spot that over the course of his professional career he has gotten better and better at. A boy who still quite young, coming out of Redditch, England. Aston Villa and Stoke City background at the youth level. Started his career with RGV, earned himself a contract with the Houston Dynamo, and like we see with so many players, fell into that gray area where was above the level of what the Toros were producing and wasn't necessarily breaking into Wilmer Cabrera's squad. And now a chance to resurrect, if you will, what is the beautiful play of Charlie Ward under the tutelage of Nikola Popovic.
Ten minutes until halftime. Moses Nyman clips one over the top. Griffin Yao stumbles. Not the first time that he's done that tonight. We've seen a few players lose their footing on the surface here at Segra Field. Elvis Amo. Trying to find a streaking Alexon Saravia out of the back for Loudoun United as Nelson Martinez putting on the pressure. Gary wins the header, but straight to Gagnon-Laparé. Oliveira finding Haji Berry out wide for Cristiano Francois. He's been the man tonight so far. Francois couldn't find anybody but the feet of Jeremy Garay. Howard stepping in. Over for Francois. He's onside. Francois still with it. Trying to get it back for Hadji Barry once more. But last touch coming off the foot of Francois. It was a bit of an awkward play, and a goal kick coming up for Earl Edwards Jr. Segra, with its industry-leading customer service and one of the East Coast's largest fiber networks, is powering organizations of all sizes with state-of-the-art voice, data, and internet services. Whether you're a municipality, a large business, or a fledgling startup, Segra knows that you can't afford to be down. Their fast, reliable, and secure solutions keep you up and running and ahead of the pack.
Change coming for Ryan Martin, just tactically what he's done. He obviously felt like Jacob Green on the right side wasn't doing himself justice, with Settavia constantly being exposed in that matchup with Cristiano Francois. A bit more pace. The academy player over there now.
Wall fall trying to turn on Moses Nyman, and the referee elects not to make a call. There was a shout for a foul on the other end, but here comes Loudoun United on the counter attack. Good challenge from the Mississauga, Ontario native, Robert Boscovich. Good flick from Oliveira. Trying to go back for Hadji Barry. Here comes the pace. But Harry Hawkins did just enough to bother Hadji Barry. Good football on either end. Good defensive plays as well.
Notice the first touch is really there, but overall high-end speed, not necessarily in full effect for Hadji Barry so far. There's the no call on one side. How about this tackle on the other? Boscovich, fourth appearance on the season, and definitely making the most of it, especially when you've got Chris Manila, with all due respect to him, a guy who's, as we mentioned, always part of that attack going forward next to the likes of Wallfall or Laparais, sitting at the center back position, just tucked in next to their captain, Carl Howarth.
Corner bent in. Problems here for Earl Edwards Jr. And last touch coming off of Ottawa.
Looking for that quick little flick to the front post. Hadji Barry once again starting to call his name more and more.
Pass along the sideline and right back to Ottawa.
Notice how quick they get back to things. Quick little throw in on the restarts. Everything is not always very direct, but up tempo from Ottawa Fury. They like to move the ball around, and you don't see them really lollygag with it at all, except for in the situation right now. Well, they'll sit there they'll let Charlie Ward come and collect it and then dictate terms going forward.
Francois. Wall fall now. Oh, it's a delicate ball in for Hadji Barry. He's offside, though. Couldn't quite get the pattern down. It's a really good ball for Wall fall, though, despite the fact that Hadji Barry was just a step offside.
Calibrating, though. You're really starting to find some impressive space from their new acquisition. Impressive by the back line of Loudoun United in terms of organization. Unfortunately, the transitional phase, they've really been exposed. In the middle of the field once again, and this is the same sentiment we had last match out. Jeremy Garay playing very deep, and I understand that. But Moses Nyman next to him, not doing a good enough job of being that glue between himself, the back line, and then moving forward to Carlos Alvarez. You're seeing deep runs from Amo and Gordon Wild coming to collect, and then trying to get the attack going forward. The problem is they're starting so deep, they have to make up a lot of ground.
Here's Tissot. Fall at the edge of the area. Finding Oliveira. Good shield off for Nelson Martinez because Hadji Barry was trying to clean it up in the end. Gordon Wild trying to bend one into the path of Amo. Here comes Callum Irving off of his line. Good play from the Ottawa keeper. And he'll scramble back to position to try to help organize.
This is really well judged by the goalkeeper. way out of his comfort zone for Callum Irving, especially against the speedy Mo up top. As we mentioned, when that ball gets out in front of him, there's a massive amount of pace behind the Ghanaian.
Griffin Yao hoping that perhaps he could link up with Gordon Wild. North Carolina FC has taken a 2-0 lead over the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Meanwhile, Louisville City levels things up at 1 apiece. Agnon Lapare sprays one over for Carl Howarth. He's usually much more involved in the attack than we're used to seeing. But tonight, Cristiano Francois and company have stolen the show, as that's a handball on Elvis Mo.
How about the big names for the Battery in Lou City? Tula Guerra getting back on the score sheet. Rasmussen surpasses his 2015 mark. Still looking to catch up on assists, but a guy who has had a resurgence in his career under John Hackworth.
And isn't that odd? Because if I had told you at the beginning of the season that
no way
Rasmussen would have that many goals, you'd be like, oh, Louisville's top of the table.
Yeah.
If he's scoring that much.
I wouldn't have agreed with you first off that he was going to have that many. And if he did, I was like, oh, everybody else has got double digits then too. And another one of the teams in the Eastern Conference just decimated by injury. Constantly changing their shape and tactical look going forward to account for all the movement that they've had.
Oh, how about this? North Carolina FC get another one, make it 3-0. As Elvis Mo almost came away with that one. Chris Manella had to send it the other way.
Donovan Awolo missed a penalty. Should be 4. Bob Lilly's not a happy man.
River Rhinos not having their defensive prowess that they're so accustomed to. And no, that was not a mistake calling them the River Rhinos. We'll get to that in a moment. Charlie Wardle to recycle. Haji Berry in a lot of space. Wiggling his way out of trouble, showed a bit too much of it to Jacob Green. Back for Boskovic. Tissot's played a really clean game on this left-hand side. We're here 3 minutes of stoppage time. And there's the 4th official making it official. And stoppage time is brought to you by Ortho Virginia, as Ottawa awkwardly going for their 3rd goal of the evening. Moses Nyman now. Oliveira sprinting back. Alvarez, back for Gordon Wild. Griffin Yao touches it through. Elvis Mo around the keeper. Easy enough for Loudoun United, but the offside flag is up. Not too sure about that one. It'll all depend on who touched it, but either way, any player who was in that mix of red jerseys was involved in the play.
If they are going to have success, it must be from a possession standpoint. There's a look. Can you walk the fine line? That is really close. The right shoulder just a bit off. Remember, no VAR at this level. Elvis Mo felt like he had a chance. And that's how they will be able to break the barrier going forward. Have to find a way to maintain possession. This quick-fire offense of Ottawa Fury is going to make you put in a serious shift. And you just have to chase, maintain your wits about you. Hold serve, continue to move forward.
How about one more for North Carolina FC? 4-0. You're my glorified statistician. Who scored?
Trey Fortune, 59th minute. They've had 3 in 9 minutes with the missed penalty. Should be 4.
Goodness gracious.
In that span, and should be 5 overall. Why don't you let the people know just before halftime why you gave them that nickname?
Oh, the River Rhinos.
Absolutely.
Oh, so if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, Bob Lilly, used to be the coach of the Rochester Rhinos, who will be returning to play in League One next year. Love their new shield, by the way.
Beautiful.
Their new badge, love it. And obviously, Bob Lilly, now the coach of the Pittsburgh River Hounds. He brought a number of players from the Rochester Rhinos over to Highmark, so ipso facto, they're the River Rhinos.
River Hounds, Rhinos, put it together.
River Rhino.
Trademark it, package it, sell it.
You're welcome.
Retire.
Anybody who wants to use that in their daily lingo has to talk to my lawyer. Moses Nyman threading it through. Griffin Yao couldn't quite get there. It was a good challenge from Robert Boscovich, and Griffin Yao was down, grabbing onto that left ankle.
Boscovich didn't want any of it. Walking away from this challenge, was telling the youngster to get up, and now walking back over just to see if he's all right. Griffin Yao had tucked himself in just between the two center backs. Felt like the quick little ball in between Boscovich and Manila would have been nice. That's a beautiful tackle. Gets a touch on the ball and everything. Really well done by Robert Boscovich coming back across. There's a little nick on it there, and so what he does is he turns his foot on the turf itself. It's not on the initial challenge coming off the back line. Just before halftime, the training staff will have a word.
Griffin Yao will limp off. We'll get further examination at halftime, but we'll see if he'll be able to continue. Another update, Nashville SC has taken the lead over the Charlotte Independence by a score of 2-1. Devin?
Daniel Rios, Carlton Belmar, 4 minutes apart.
So Golden Boot race, Asante 18, Rios 16?
Something like that. I don't do well with numbers. I thought we've discussed this. And the fact that you put me on blast in front of everyone really hurts my feelings.
That's not numbers. That's not count. That's 15 plus 16, or 15 plus 1 equals 60.
Easy? It's not
Yeah,
math?
it's not math.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen.
That's what I get. Bit of an awkward one here, as I think Ottawa Fury were expecting a free pass to play that ball, and they ended up being put under pressure. Oliveira now skipping away from Griffin Yao, who's seemingly all right. Francois. Howarth now. Will fall on the first time. Not a bad effort. Spilled by Edwards Jr. Oliveira was claiming it might have gone over the line, but a bizarre end to the first half. 3 goals in favor of Ottawa Fury for the two sides. 2-1 is your score at the end of the first 45 minutes. Here's another look. Oh, it's close.
Breathe a sigh of relief on that one. Earl Edwards Jr. just let it get him away from a little bit while Fall trying to have a crack from distance. This is what Ottawa Fury should look like going forward. Too many opportunities for this team in the offensive third. Quick start by Loudoun United. Gordon Wild 15 seconds into the match. Got to be one of the quicker ones of this season. Are we done there? Absolutely not. Oliveira in the 23rd. Cristiano Francois in the 30th. Nikola Popovic happy at halftime. Ryan Martin, work to be done in the second 45.
Halftime here at Segra Field, 2-1 in favor of Ottawa Fury FC, as they are currently in control of all 3 points here in Leesburg, Virginia. Cristiano Francois with what stands as the game-winning goal, also has the assist on the opening goal for Kevin Oliveira, but it was Gordon Wild who got us started in the 15-second mark. And for those of you who are unaware, this is the third ever game at Segra Field. Devin, what a beautiful venue. However, the results have not been as aesthetically pleasing, but the first ever night at Loudoun United was certainly one to remember from an entertainment standpoint. Three-3 draw to open up Segra Field following that 2-1 loss against the Charleston Battery, and now down 2-1 to Ottawa Fury. But we'll take a look at the ins and outs of Segra Field. $15 million, 5,000-seat soccer-specific stadium. And Devin, this is sort of becoming the standard for second division in the United States, and it's great to see.
Should be. And the opportunity for it to be a mixed-use stadium as well. They've already talked about creating the culture within this club. They're going to extend it a bit further, where they're going to bring in concerts and other kind of state fair type things that'll bring more financial backing to the area. Always nice to have that reassurance, but more importantly, the relationship with them and DC United, always ever present. Going to have some of the academy offices within the stadium as well, and you know, an opportunity for this young but really impressive club to continue on the movement of youth soccer around the United States.
Moving through the National Conference Center halftime report, we'll step aside yet again.
Fortune can hit from here. Oh!
McCarthy once more!
Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC.
Big shot, and scored! And Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it.
Coming and off for an end. What a move.
Shot blocked, follow up, and that one blocked, ball still loose.
Stanley will try to create here. Gets it in. Here's Rowe. Up ahead. Continuing cuts back. Strike coming. And just beyond the reach of Mangles, it's in. Towards the box. Cuts around Ovalle. Goes down the strike. Philly on the save at the near post. Through the traffic. Knocks it on. Soto there. Back. The shot. And in. Goes straight. Soto off the bench. And putting Chattanooga up 2-1.
A little trickery now, maybe. McCabe goes for goal, and it's an excellent free kick. A long run-up produces a long-range effort from Niall McCabe. Not the first time that he cuts through from Dalgard. Dalgard still with it. He tees it up. Great effort, and a terrific opening goal for Hartford Athletic, coming by the way of Sebastian Dalgard.
Opportunities for the opponent. This ball comes in, headed away only to the top of the box. To Langsdorff, volley off the chest, and Portland has the lead in the third minute.
Still Zach Sandy to drive, and what a save by Matt Pickens.
Sent in towards the back post, headed on. Calais Brown, what a save.
For John Modura, watch him on the tail end of this. He knows how good of a save it is. He turns around, slaps a little high five. Kevon George is going to be robbed. Calais Brown. Welcome back to Segra Field. We've been here the entire time. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. Nikola Popovic's group looking mighty fine at the moment, although there were some bumps and bruises along the way for both sides. We'll take a look at some news and notes from around our wonderful league. How about Phoenix Rising FC? 14 straight wins.
13 on Dollar Beer Night.
13-0-0 on Dollar Beer Night, and in just earth-shattering amount of Sabre metrics that go with that. I mean, the difference between their Dollar Beer Night statistics and their non-Dollar Beer Night statistics are overwhelming. And then, of course, Francis Jacobs becoming the youngest male to sign a professional contract in United States soccer history, and USL and Copa 90 teaming up for Supporters Week. And we mentioned the Golden Boot before. Let's take a look at it now. Daniel Rios, we'll do the math for you, Devin. So he had 15 goals coming into today. He's scored 2 today. So how many does that make?
18.
Good. Okay. A+. Kevon Frater, Sebastian Guenzati, Corey Herzog, all in the mix. But Daniel Rios and Solomon Asante certainly looking like they're running away with it. Solomon Asante actually with a couple of goals, both from the penalty spot last night in that 4-2 win against Reno. A look at the standings in the Eastern Conference. Devin, I ask you this question all the time, so I'm going to ask a different one. Is the top 4 set?
No. With games in hand, I see Indy 11 breaking into the top 4.
You do?
I do.
Even with the departure of Thomasina Voltson?
Absolutely. The pieces that they put in there, I really like it. I like the Drew Connor that they brought over from Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
Brief stint overseas, and now they bring him back. A nice holding midfielder that can also push into a 10 and help that attack get going forward. Indy Voltson didn't necessarily give them a massive amount of goals. Not that he was ever going to. Take a look at his past. At me, North Carolina FC. We talked about that. Well, amidst the penalty, he still puts in the goal just right after it. They're up by 4. ATO UTD 2, Swope Park Rangers. That was on Friday. Take a look. Charlotte Independent struggling to keep pace with Nashville SC. And Louisville is not playing 2 games tonight. It was just making sure you guys were paying attention to us. That's all.
We'll step aside yet again, moving right through the National Conference Center halftime report. We'll be back in a few moments. All right, almost set for the second half here in Leesburg, Virginia. We hope that you are like this fan right here in the shot, whether it be with your feet kicked up, enjoying a snack, enjoying a beverage, perhaps of the adult variety. We'll take a look at the first 45 minutes, but really only need 15 seconds for the first goal.
5th fastest goal USL Championship history. Hard to believe that it's the fastest in Loudoun United history. Not really. First year. Well done by Gordon Wild. We said they needed to set the tone early, get these boys out in front, and give them some momentum going forward so they could have some breathing room down the stretch. Unfortunately, they would turn that over to the visitors. Really liked what we saw out of Cristiano Francois and his distribution. But, you know, could they find a way to get it to Haji Berry? Could he get the guys, once he broke into the final third, knock these balls across, could they get on the end of them? And that wasn't what happened. A lot of arguing going on. They would finally find a way to get the breakthrough, but it would take some time. And it would come in the form of Cristiano Francois. He would be the distributor to Kevin Oliveira in the 23rd minute. He'd also add one in the 30th. And there's the first one right there. Just beautiful distribution from that right-hand side. Everything has to be picture perfect in order to finish things off. He puts it right on a platter. They finish it up, go up. And where's the second one going to be? Wall fall from distance. You got a lot of opportunities here for Ottawa Fury. If you're Ryan Martin, you got to be careful coming down the stretch, because the second half, we talked about them opening things up, how almost 60% of their goals come. They also succeed a lot more, and that's spatial awareness. You have to understand that when you start to push the tempo a little bit, can you then still be responsible on the defensive side of things? You saw that towards the tail end of the first half. Some good looks going forward. Both of the front 3-4 units that you saw on the offensive side for Loudoun United as well as Ottawa Fury didn't do the best of job maintaining their discipline. Found themselves in an offside position on a regular basis. Haji Berry once again just creeps in behind here. Quick little touch off the crossbar. That was on the restart that was actually coming off the challenge. And then right before halftime, Earl Edwards Jr. Was he making friends? No. Was he dropping a third one in the back of the net? No.
No on all counts. We'll take a look at the numbers from the first half. And as you can see, split possession more or less. But some good opportunities for Ottawa and then some. How about that pass from Cristiano Francois to find Haji Berry and all that traffic? We actually missed that shot initially as we were still reviewing the potential offside, because there was a goal shot on the other end for Elvis Amo. He was called offside. We were just making sure that that was the correct call. As we are just about set for the second half. Devin, what are you expecting?
Hold on to your horses.
You think?
It's going to get faster. It's going to pick up. Ottawa Fury are in a situation where they know that this team is ripe for the picking. Loudoun United, a squad that has really struggled, to be honest, and when you're looking for playoff points, and more specifically in this situation, you need to pad that effort in the goal differential department. They're going to go after it for sure. And how is Loudoun United going to respond? It's that a lot of their goals are coming in the second half here. And they also succeed a lot, so don't be surprised if this really goes up tempo here even further in the second half.
And Connor Presley coming on and replacing Alexandre Saravia as the lone substitution at halftime. So inject a bit more experience into the lineup for Ryan Martin.
That was just midweek rook. Due to Connor Presley having a lot of miles on his odometer recently, Ryan Martin giving him an opportunity to just rest a little bit.
Here's Wall Fault. Pushes out wide. Francois now sends it across, hoping for a handball. Lauren Varga looks at it, stares at it, makes no call. Looked like the hand of Harry Hawkins might have been at his side, therefore he is off the hook if that is the case. We'll get another look at it in a moment. Oliveira now, broken up by Harry Hawkins.
This is exactly the look we were just talking about. When this cuts back across, doesn't make contact with the hand. I'll tell you what, this hits his hand, but it's tucked next to his body and behind him. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
But here's the funny thing about that.
Unnatural position because it's tucked behind him.
That is the most unnatural position ever.
But you could make the argument that the only place that he could put that is down by his side like a toy soldier.
M&M reference. I see what you did there. Nice. Here's Gagnon Laparé. Boskovic. There's Manel out of the back. Typical central midfielder. Obviously good distribution coming out from that center back position. Howard tried to put it on frame.
That looks like he locked his ankle on that too. He is down. He catches the turf monster hard on this one. Felt like he was gonna have a go himself and instead picked up a bunch of the little rubber pellets.
Here's Griffin Yao. Howard looks to be all right. Bit too direct from Fury and Earl Edwards Jr. Samo, a bit of a heavy touch, gets tangled up with wall fall. And a foul called against the German.
It's an interesting decision here. I have to explain that one out of the rulebook to me later on. Apparently there's a new change from IFAB that I'm not familiar with.
Just came out this morning, actually. Alvarez. Presley now.
Griffin, now you got to have a shout here, buddy. I understand you're one of the younger ones on this squad, but this is your ball the entire way. Yes, they want to find the near post run of a Mo, but you got to communicate from the backside. Let this thing run through and have a crack on goal.
Maxime Tissot in for Francois, but he's way offside. Got another update from North Carolina FC and Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Yes, you guessed it, 5-0. Robert Christo adding to the tally. Still 3-1 over at Matthews, North Carolina. Nashville up front thanks to 2 goals from Daniel Rios, 1 from Carlton Belmar. Opening goal came from Charlotte by the way of Enzo Martinez. Given away by Loudoun. Crowd starting to grow a little bit angsty. Howard couldn't get around Griffin Yao. Time for the quick restart for Cristiano Francois. Nyman with a good turn. Finding Alvarez in some space, pushes it along. Now it's Gordon Wild. Looking to drive right at Boscovich. He's been excellent tonight. Every 1v1 situation he's been put in, he's been the victor.
If I told you this was his 4th appearance of the season, you would never know. Very impressive on the back line. Just one-on-one situation. Gordon Wild, so tactful in his actions when he gets in front of the goal. Trying a little step over, and center back's not having any of it.
Gagnon Laparé. Later run from Wall Fall. Charlie Ward. Now it's Carl Howarth. Francois, you can tell, already starting to labor a little bit. He's done a lot of running in the opening 52 minutes or so. Great little move there. Francois towards the back post, a bit too much on it. Well, it looked like it stayed in play for a solid 4 or 5 yards after the fact. Nobody on Ottawa went to go try to track it down before it did trickle out of play. Had they done so, certainly would have been problematic for Loudoun and then some. Mo goes down. Howard tried to bend one in. Blocked by Griffin Yao, keeps it in play. Difficult for Presley here, but Tissot commits the foul. Alvarez just dinks one over for the Texas native. Presley, touch to settle it, now delivers. It was hopeful in the end. Gagnon Lapare picks it off. Well done from Haji Berry. Oliveira the other way, looking for Francois, but look how far off his line Earl Edwards Jr. is. This is the matchup that Francois wants, running right at Jacob Green. Francois tried to peel it back, had a lot of pace on it, looking for Gagnon Lapare.
His first step is just so problematic for defenders. You know 9 times out of 10 that he's going to try and push it to your right, go with pace, and push you down to the byline and knock it back across, and still, it's hard for guys to have answers to it.
Charlie Ward dictating the tempo for Ottawa, as he so often does. And Devin Kerr making it well known that he is the most efficient passer in the USL Championship, let alone the Eastern Conference. Paul Fall thought that he had Kevin Oliveira a bit more central. Meanwhile, Loudoun United on the other end. Flag stays down. Here's Gordon Wild looking for a second on the night. Broken up by Callum Irving. Waited a bit too long and brought the ball a tad too close to the on-rushing keeper from Vancouver, and he makes an outstanding play. While Fall driving forward, Oliveira tried to let it run through. Good challenge from Nelson Martinez in the end. And Devin, you said it. This game is going to really start to open up. Tons of space for Loudoun United on the other end now. Griffin Yao leading the charge. Yao gets stuck in, tried to poke it through. And now we have a player down on the other side. Looks like Orlando Sinclair is getting set to come on for Ryan Martin.
This was it, wasn't it? The game-tying goal. Really well done by Mo up top. Gordon Wild cannot make a decision. Should I go left? Should I bring it back to the right? Wasn't sure. And the delayed thought process allowed Callum Irving to come off. Well done by the goalkeeper. You can get an idea. Keep an eye at his head. Looks back over. There's his eyes. Look over to the left. No, I'm going to go right. And unfortunately, this ball, if he's going to go, he's got to go faster. If you're going to push it out in front, get around the goalkeeper. And Callum Irving, just on the tail end of this, you could hear the shouts from the sideline from the staff of Ottawa Fury to put the ball out. As Ryan Martin is 100% going to his bench. He needs some fresh legs to help see this one out.
And it looks like the sacrificial lamb will be Carlos Alvarez. So Alvarez, who had brief glimmers of what Loudoun United brought him in for, couldn't quite put it together tonight, and Orlando Sinclair came on and scored the lone goal against the Charleston Battery late on Wednesday night. A look at what happened to Callum Irving.
He was looking at the left arm of Callum Irving. See him right there. Tail end of it. Didn't see a step by Gordon Wild on him. And they have a pretty small supporting cast. And there is their backup goalkeeper, David Monsalve. The midweek matchup against Toronto FC in the Canadian Championship. They only traveled 5 in a quick little turnaround, and hoping that their starting goalkeeper can just get back at it.
Well, the run usually stops in the semifinals in the Canadian Championship for a side like Ottawa Fury. If they're able to avoid the likes of Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, leading up to that. And they actually gave it a good run in 2018. I believe they won the first leg against Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, but that was against more or less TFC2. back when they were a part of the USL Championship. And then Toronto FC coming away with the win in the second leg in convincing fashion.
Talking to Popovich about that, at least the 2019 matchup. And they lost the second leg 3-0. That's 5-0 on aggregate. And it was a mixture of a couple League One guys, but the issue that you ran into was they just couldn't close out their chances. And he said, you know, we had pretty good looks early on where we maintained pretty decent amount of possession. Also, the number of passes they put together, Popovich was quite happy with it, but he said we couldn't grasp the momentum right in the opening 10, 15 minutes. The minute that we put our head down on our missed chances, they capitalized on us. Goals in the 14th, 37th, and 39th pretty much put that one to bed.
Charlie Ward called for the fouls. He rips down Orlando Sinclair. Thought about going quickly from the restart. Ward is not happy with himself. Nyman in for Griffin Yao, one teenager to another. Now out wide for Connor Presley. Good ball in, hoping for Sinclair. Sinclair took a knock after the fact as Callum Irving has taken his fair share of shots over the past 3 minutes or so.
Referee blows a foul as the momentum is actually impeding the goalkeeper's progress. They're always going to protect him, especially just outside the top of the six. For Sinclair to have any say in this situation, he's got to go straight up, and obviously it's not the case. I like the confidence to challenge the goalie, though.
Stampede again, trying to will their side to an equalizing goal, or perhaps even further than that. They're still looking for their first win here at Segra Field. They left Audi Field on really good terms with a 3-0 win over Louisville City FC, the back-to-back champs. How about North Carolina FC, who with that win tonight jump into 4th place, as talked about at halftime, still very much up for grabs. Presley trying to cut it back, working on Maxime Tissot. As Tissot comes away with it, he's been terrific tonight. Half an hour remaining here in Leesburg, Virginia. Cristiano Francois with the game-winning goal. As it stands, as it was Kevin Oliveira who equalized Gordon Wild's goal in the opening 15 seconds. Header won by Manella. Moskovic trying to clear the immediate danger. Gordon Wild on the turn now. Pops straight up in the air. Griffin Yao trying to use his body on the much larger Moskovic. Nyman.
Yeah, we're gonna do you guys first, and then we do you. Okay?
Sounds like Thomas Meyer-Giguère is coming on.
Interesting shot with the way that Moskovic has been playing, that he would be the one coming off. He's been very good for Ottawa Fury tonight. It could be a game fitness thing, as we mentioned. Only a handful of appearances on the year.
And it is going to be Meyer-Giguère coming on to replace Moskovic, and he goes down, so he's hurt. Meyer-Giguère, who's more than experienced at this level. Came up through the Montreal Academy in his 3rd season with Ottawa Fury. In his early 20s, though, and is going to replace Moskovic. As Ottawa Fury looking for some reinforcements on the defensive side of the ball. Moskovic unable to continue. And the other substitution for Loudoun United is going to be Antonio Bustamante coming on and replacing Gordon Wild. Although it looks like Elvis Amo is cramping up, so perhaps this could change at the last moment, because this is the 3rd and final substitution for Ryan Martin, and perhaps is this a bit premature with Elvis Amo cramping up? Wouldn't you wait a minute or two?
Cramping up on a yellow as well. You've got 27 minutes to go in this game, and your striker who's put in a heck of a shift, and we already talked about his lack of game minutes. Full match fitness still not there for the Ghanaian, and a guy that's literally laying in front of the coach, struggling to maintain fitness throughout this match. The only option that you might be able to do is push either Orlando Sinclair or Bustamante up high and let them do more of the running. Amo can sit down underneath, but that gets away from his strongest attributes.
How much of that is possibly orders coming down from Ben Olsen? As we'll get one more substitution. And it's the Brazilian Thiago coming on. We have our 3 substitutions. 2 men on the side of Nikola Popovic. 1 final substitution for Ryan Martin. And we'll resume play.
Would imagine with Popovic pulling Thiago on that you will see Gagnon Lapere go to that left back position. Another one of these versatile components that Nikola Popovic has brought in. He can play on the inverted side of the triangle in this 4-3-3, but also sit next to Meir Jaguer. Kind of rotate him all forward, put him up on the front 3 if you like, though with the acquisition of Haji Berry, that will probably be a less prevalent look for him.
Here's Howarth, drawing a lot of red jerseys, somehow gets it through for Haji Berry. Peeled back for Oliveira, already on 1 goal tonight. Lays it off, wall fall, touches it along. Was he fouled? It doesn't matter because Cristiano Francois put it on the wrong side of the left post.
With the buildups that we've seen, you keep wondering, when are they going to pull the trigger here? Massive amount of discipline, though. Haji Berry putting it right where he's supposed to, and then Oliveira just continuing the rotation all the way back around. Wall fall unselfish, hoping that he can pick out Francois on the far post, unable to do so as his efforts sail just wide. And one criticism that you can have for Ottawa Fury is this high-profile attack going forward, showcased primarily from basically minute 25 until halftime. They only have 2 goals to show for it. They're only out in front by 1. Loudoun United, a team, as we mentioned, on the offensive side, much better in the second half. You let youngsters like this hang around, it will come back to bite you.
Well, he certainly gave Charleston Battery a scare on Wednesday night. Although Charleston had a number of opportunities to put that game to bed. Presley's clearance right to the foot of Thiago. And Jaguer forced to go back to Callum Irving. Pressure from Elvis Amo, actually got a piece of it. Haji Berry for Howarth. Kevin Oliveira trying to curtail his run. Good recovery from Nelson Martinez. The initial ball probably should have gone to Oliveira. Haji Berry didn't see it, elected to go out to Carl Howarth.
They got that wrong, and for Howarth, it was really difficult to get enough power behind this ball and whip it in fast enough, as that passing lane was immediately closed down by Loudoun.
Howard sends one in, diving header for Martinez. a poor area to try that. Wall fall. Trying to get it along for Cristiano Francois. Good recovery from Presley. Fall in for Barry. Heavy touch though. And Harry Hawkins stabs it away. Howarth up for the header. He's in a much more advanced position than what we saw in the first half. Griffin Yao wins it back for Loudoun United. Being tracked back quickly, Moses Nyman. Working on Meyer Giguère. Nyman towards the byline. Was he tripped up? Loose in front, Sinclair trying to stab at it. And cleared away by Manella. Hawkins wins the initial header. Cushioned out by Guerre. More and more space starting to open up as legs become a bit heavier. Mind's a bit less sharp. Amo, good hustle. Wasn't a bad idea from Howarth, but minimal space for Oliveira to try to bring it down. Hopeful from Nyman. Thiago wiggles his way out of trouble.
You talked about Carl Howarth and how high his line is. He is living dangerously, basically daring Loudoun United to go after this right side.
Well, it's a clear message from Nikola Popovic that he would rather go and get the insurance goal than sit back and defend.
He's not wrong, to be fair. Everything that's going for them, they got to find a way to put a third one in the back of the net. And yes, you have to take chances. They're not balancing it on the second side. So you've got Lapre sitting deep. No issues there.
Well, Fall going for goal now. Really good interplay. And Moses Nyman was driving at Meyer Giguère a few minutes ago. It was a penalty shout, but it didn't look like it in real time.
None of the players were saying anything either. Gets around the outside there and obstructed by the player just coming into focus on the end of it. And how about Ottawa going the other direction? As we mentioned, looking for that third and crucial goal that would really put this one away. Wall fall just up over the bar.
Howarth keeps it in play. Haji Barry now. 3v2 if they hurry. It's a bit lackadaisical though from Barry. Griffin Yao. Elvis Amo trying to go back for the youngster. But back to Nikola Popovic's approach. Is that the right move on the road?
For his thought process, it's not necessarily on the road, it's just what they preach overall. They don't want to change form home or away.
Oliveira. Thiago finding Wall fall, a little bit of space, trying to create some more. He's taken down about 20 yards away from goal, and a very dangerous free kick coming up. A bit of a tiff arising between Wall fall and a couple players from Loudoun United, Orlando Sinclair and Harry Hawkins to be specific. And Gagnon Lapore restraining Wall fall from getting involved in something he really shouldn't. With Ottawa Fury in the heat of a playoff race, as well as up 2-1 on the road, the last thing they need is their central midfielder to be sent off.
Especially when you have such a vital set-piece opportunity right at the top of the 18-yard box. There's a disagreement here by Loudoun United as to whether or not this was actually a foul. Catches the front left foot as well. Does get some of the ball. Referee's got a pretty nice seat for it, though. Nice spark from Antonio Bustamante and Orlando Sinclair since coming on, though haven't necessarily seen it in full effect in the final third. Shocked Wallfall is not standing over this with Carl Howarth. As good as he is from dead ball situations. Kevin Oliveira coming in with his left foot. Now he'll walk away. That bottom corner is ripe for the picking.
Howarth trying to place it there, and he does just that. Carl Howarth might have just locked up all 3 points with a brilliant free kick. It's Ottawa 3, Loudoun United 1 here at Segra.
You really have to question the decision-making by Earl Edwards Jr. here. A massive amount of talent in that goalkeeper, but you can see it from here. Loads of space to the left shoulder. I said the bottom corner, you could put it anywhere you want. Still have to put it on frame. You can see not a massive amount of pace behind it, and the goalkeeper just tracking it the entire way. Carl Howarth, 7th goal in the season, upper 90, clinical in execution. They finally get their 3rd.
Carl Howarth with an outstanding free kick, just smooches it off the underside of the crossbar. And Ottawa Fury have the 3rd goal that they probably deserve. Where do you go from here if you're Loudoun United with 15 minutes remaining, down 2 goals at home? Yao. Brought down by Presley. It's cross blocked by Canyon Laparé, and a corner kick coming up for Loudoun.
This is where you go. You go with the gift off the outside defender. Laparé, allow Harry Hawkins to come up. Let some of the bigger boys do some action. Amo on the backside of things. Just go back to what you've trained on all week long. Your manager will calm the efforts down the stretch. 15 minutes to go, put one up and let someone go get it.
One by Sinclair. Wasn't anywhere near the frame though. Martinez trying to go shoulder to shoulder with Chris Manella, and he just muscles it away. Something interesting we've noticed from the Ottawa technical area, they call everyone by their last name. Is that normal?
Fluctuates from manager to manager.
I feel like you develop such a personal relationship with your players, but to call them all by their last name like you're a broadcaster. Here's Presley trying to lash one across. Again, touched last by Ottawa. A corner kick coming up for Loudoun United.
I'd take that. I've been called a lot worse. Take my first and last name any day of the week based upon some of the sentiments I've received from my managers. And you can just see a bit of a response from the youngsters now. Saw Harry Hawkins just before on that near post run. Does he switch it up and come far post now?
Griffin Yao. Header one initially by Ottawa, not clear yet, a danger. Poked away. Nyman. Too much on that for Presley, and Wallfall will just see it out.
Just taking a look at scores around the league. I can't remember where we had a slate of games where so many teams had scored in opening minutes. Imatumasi, 7th minute for Austin Bold. Jack Barmby, 14th minute, San Antonio FC. Gordon Wild, of course, as we mentioned, 15 seconds into the match. Atula Guerra, 7th minute. Everybody getting on the score sheet later tonight.
Amo on the turn, shouts for a handball, and that certainly looked a lot more like a pen than the earlier one. Well, that could have changed everything. Meanwhile, Francois on the other end. Up steps Harry Hawkins. Gives it away to Howarth. Tiago back for Howarth. Here comes the captain. Puts one in the middle. Ball fall trying to beat Connor Presley to the spot. A lot of pace from Presley. Oliveira over the top, hoping for Haji Berry. All over the top for Berry, onside, 1v1. Haji Berry denied by Earl Edwards Jr. Barely got a touch to it, but still counts as a save. And a big one at that for Earl Edwards. At least gives his team a chance to pull one back and perhaps go for an equalizer. Game is completely stretched. Francois now through for Haji Berry. Edwards off of his line.
Got a way to calm things down now for Loudoun United. Yes, the game's always going to open up, and to be honest, for them, it suits them on the offensive side of things, as the possession style movements haven't necessarily suited them tonight.
Oliveira. Good challenge from Jacob Green. Good movement here from Loudoun United. Sinclair. Challenge put in by Gagnon Laparé, but Sinclair called for the foul. We had that handball shout a few minutes ago. You be the judge at home.
That's a clear and distinct penalty right inside the box. And then the other direction, Haji Berry gets in behind. He's got a shout for a penalty on that one as well.
How do you miss the other one?
That's really bad.
Even if you can't blatantly see, as Cameron Shaw comes on, even if you can't blatantly see it happen and there's traffic, there was clearly a deflection, and the only possible way that the ball could take that kind of bounce is off a hand.
Cameron Shaw now getting an opportunity. Haji Berry coming off, making his debut for Ottawa Fury, was with West Ottawa Soccer Club, then FC Gatineau, an academy contract, and actually committed to Spring Harbor University this fall. We'll see how that plays out, making your first professional appearance.
Francois. Shout for a foul at the edge of the area. Lauren Varga again had a front row seat, but elects not to blow the whistle.
It's just too much reactionary play from Loudoun United right now. It's a lot of individual efforts where Griffin Yao is running and someone gets around and then deciding what he wants to do. When this team is at their best, yes, it's got to be possession-based, but just pick up the tempo a little bit. We always make the reference in time to time where it's boxing or chess, where you have to think 3-4 movements ahead and start to break the team down. You're not seeing that from the boys in red in the second half here. Ottawa Fury out on the front foot and really making this team chase. So that when they do start to push over half field and bring it to their offensive efforts, there's just not a lot of impressive movements coming off the ball.
Ward in for Oliveira, flicks it along. Wall fall, back for Oliveira. Earl Edwards off of his line. Francois was going for goal. Presley. Who's DeMonte now? He can hit it from distance. Back out for Presley. Limited numbers in the area. Here's Griffin Yao on the first time, and Irving punches it over the bar. Well taken by Griffin Yao, but angled a bit too closely to the Ottawa keeper. And a corner kick coming up, a little less than 10 minutes remaining.
This is why DC United made him a homegrown product. Even though the one-on-one battles aren't necessarily the way to go, sometimes you need that one player to step up and really push the squad in a positive direction. Pick your head up, young man. That's not a bad effort.
Presley's header skips all the way across. It'll stay in play. Second chance here for Loudoun. Almost caught Callum Irving out of position. Look at the numbers the other way for Ottawa. Carl Howarth. Great ball the other way for Francois, but a terrific save from Earl Edwards Jr. But that pass was absolutely ridiculous from the captain, Carl Howarth. The save equal to the distribution. Challenge from Thiago. Trying to get to the second. And now the third. Rough challenge from Harry Hawkins. That's got to be a booking. And Harry Hawkins knows it, despite what the crowd is saying.
The game stays like this. Something's got to give. 5 minutes to go, wide open play. This ball, insane on the Richter scale. The top of it all. Look at the English to just bring it away from the goalkeeper at the tail end of it. Sweet little touch pass to the far post. As you mentioned, the efforts by the goalkeeper, Earl Edwards Jr. cannot be forgotten. Well done to read it off his line and then continue the pace going forward, get out in front of it, that trailing leg.
Elvis Amo called for the foul. He's not happy about it. He's already got a yellow card. He's got to be careful.
Frustration boiling over here. You get another look. Yeah, it's a foul. I'm not exactly sure what he's arguing about. Arms wrapped around him. Both knees just colliding through on the challenge. Not necessarily a stern talking to, but another warning is you would hate to see insult added to injury for this Loudoun squad go down to 10 men.
Wall fall. Out wide for Francois.
Well done. Now you just keep it. Make the team chase. Let the ball do the work. 2 goals with just minutes to spare. Put it on the deck and make the hard movements come from the opposition. We don't need to go after a 4th one here. It would be nice, but unnecessary.
They certainly are looking for it, aren't they? It's anybody's guess what language Nikola Popovic might be speaking at any point in time. What does he speak about? 5 languages?
I actually believe it's more than that.
Is it more than that?
We'll have to talk to our co-worker, Michael Watts. He has that specific answer, but I honestly think it's like 6 or 7.
That's the measure of somebody who's incredibly smart. Being able to speak not just multiple languages, but anything more than 2 is...
I speak more than 2.
Your French isn't really French.
I also speak the language of love.
Here's Elvis Amo. Please ignore my broadcast partner.
You're fluent in it as well. Relax.
Am I?
You learn from the best. Yeah, it is a whole nother level. you and I actually are familiar with someone, a friend of ours, who his father speaks 8 languages. He was at my wedding party, Justin Stefanovic.
Oh, that's right.
His dad speaks 8 languages.
Really? Did not know that. Fun fact.
Justin can barely get through 1, to be fair.
He's probably listening tonight.
He does a lot of things well in his life. Listening is not one of them.
Watching, multitasking,
There you go.
whatever the crazy millennials are doing nowadays.
There's a pretty good amount of motion between these two teams. It's unfortunate that Ottawa Fury was able to get out on the second one. They'll be happy about that. Loudoun United still throwing bodies and numbers forward, going after this thing. Unfortunately, it's kind of what we talked about, too little, too late.
Here's a Mo again. Draws 2. Trying to find Yao, but really tight quarters. Shaw goes into a crunching challenge. Carl Howarth is going to continue to play. It was clean. Shaw. Jacob Green is probably lucky to be walking right now, because that was a high-speed, high-impact collision. Shaw onside, says the assistant referee. Ward, Oliveira, back heel for fall, into the stampede.
Jacob Green and Cameron Shaw just right in front of the tactical area, getting into it, and you have to feel for the limp and Jacob Green's gait coming out of it. Nice to see him moving properly again. Have to be careful there.
Francois. Ottawa want more. And with that want, they might open themselves up a little bit. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Ball skips right into the hands of Callum Irving. That took a nasty deflection. That could have gone anywhere, but thankfully for the 26-year-old, it went right into his gut. Stoppage time brought to you by Ortho Virginia. Next up for Ottawa, they'll play host to St. Louis FC, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. There's Orlando Sinclair tiptoeing into enemy territory. Awkward for Presley. Francois with some bullish work to win it back. Look at all the pace that he possesses, even in the 92nd minute. Rough challenge from Sinclair. He's going to go into the book. So these two teams are not exactly fond of each other.
Some frustration. And you can hear the referees on the sideline just having to deal with some of the emotions boiling over by the manager. And how about wall fall? Jimmy Guerre, those two. And now Sinclair coming in. That's not exactly a look going forward, as things could heat up down the stretch here.
Both coaches starting to go back and forth a little bit now. It was a really unnecessary challenge from Sinclair, as Francois was already past him.
It's Callum Irving holding Gagnon Lapare back from any more involvement with Orlando Sinclair. just taking all the air out of this match down the stretch as Cristiano Francois being tended to by the training staff. Lapare still having a final conversation with Laurent Varga. Penny for a thought from Ryan Martin and his boys, who once again showed you glimpses. Unfortunately, let the opposition get the better of them for about 25 minutes or so in the first half, and the third one down the stretch that obviously put this one to rest. They'll be on the losing end once again as their playoff hopes continue to drift away. The supporters don't know it though. Credit to them continuing forth.
That's what you have to love, even in the 94th minute, with the game basically done and dusted. Still chanting, waving flags with their team through thick and thin. Francois appears to be all right as we'll resume play in the 95th. I have a feeling a couple more minutes will be added on to that 5. Moses Nyman. That's deflected by Charlie Ward. Oliveira ripped down, responsible for one of the goals tonight as he's now grabbing onto his back. This has been a taxing game for Ottawa, to say the least. Good news for them is that they do get to return home to take on the likes of Anthony Pulis and Bob Lilly over the next 2 matches after coming off of a bye week, but a good response after not playing for some time. Sinclair in for Amo. Back for Sinclair. Ball lofted in, easy enough for Callum Irving. Lauren Varga checking the watch. Ball fall, trying to avoid any more physical contact. Shifty move from Antonio Bustamante. Not enough on that one. Yao on the turn. Out wide for Presley. Numbers arriving for Loudoun. Presley into the middle. Could be an own goal. Looks like last touch came off of Ottawa Fury. Indeed it did. Last-ditched effort for Loudoun to rescue a bit of pride more so than the result. Falling towards the back post. Irving collects. And that'll do it. Ottawa Fury, on the heels of a bye week, come away with 3 points. They stay inside of the playoff cutoff line, and they inch closer and closer to some of the best in the East, the likes of Louisville City, Indy 11, and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Carl Howard with the icing on the cake. Kevin Oliveira had the equalizer. Cristiano Francois with the game winner here. Another loss for Loudoun United. That's 2 this week. We'll be back in a moment to put a bow on it. Full time here in Leesburg, Virginia. Cristiano Francois with a goal and an assist. A terrific night for the Haitian. Haji Barry had a couple of opportunities, but he was unable to finish them off. Carl Howarth with an outstanding free kick down the stretch to make it 3-1. And we'll take a look at how it all went down here at Segra. And full-time stats and highlights both provided by Segra. And Devin, didn't take long. 15 seconds in, we were asking for a quick start from Loudoun and thought that might be the recipe for success, but unfortunately was not the case, as it would be 3 unanswered from Ottawa after this opener in the first 15 seconds.
5th fastest goal in USL Championship history. Justin Dillon actually owns that record at 9 seconds, scored earlier this year for Tacoma Defiance. Unfortunately, that would be it, folks. Ottawa Fury and this ridiculous attack going forward, especially in the first half. Kevin Oliveira in the 23rd, beautiful distribution by Francois, and then Francois would get one of his own in the 30th minute from Kevin Oliveira. Surprising how that goes down. It's all about that front three. Haji Barry was not at his best, but you got to find a way to get him involved more. They will be able to do that. This was the one that could have been. You're sitting at 2-1. Gordon Wild gets into a one-on-one. Poor decision-making. Didn't know if he wanted to go to Elvis or bring it back across the right side of his body, and allowed Callum Irving to come off his line. Made a vital stop down the stretch.
Both keepers would have to get more than involved for their side. And while Ottawa Fury, as they usually do, Devin, they string together some really nice sequences of passes. They couldn't quite finish it off in the run of play like they had hoped, with the exception of maybe the opening goal.
Unnecessary foul right at the top of the 18 where Wallfall gets brought down. You and I were both shocked that he wasn't standing over this, but look at the space to the left of Earl Edwards Jr. 6-man wall. All you have to do is trust the wall and come to the left. The positioning is so wrong for the goalkeeper. He knows it. Sees it in the upper corner the entire time. You get it to 3-1. Is it a pen? I'll tell you what. This comes really close to me. Off the hand. That's pointed to the spot for the referee. Lauren Vargas says, no, let's go the other direction. Is this a penalty on Haji Barry just before he gets subbed off? Jacob Green, back left shoulder. We saw the same foul called and a red card distributed for New York Red Bull 2 against Hartford Athletic. The referee lets them play on. Interesting how that works out. Carl Howarth, how good was he? Coming out of the back, a guy that has played pretty much every position on the field for this team over the course of his tenure for Ottawa Fury, just trying to find that trailing run to the back post. They can't finish it off, but a nice performance from the visiting squad.
And there's a look at the full-time stats brought to you by Segra. And it was a game that, well, from a statistics standpoint, might look like it was even. Certainly not that. Ottawa come away with a 3-1 win. They dominated the amount of chances that were created on the night. And Devin Kerr, this is a Loudoun United side that you predicted, if they were not to get any points tonight, probably out of the playoff race. And just from the looks of it in their form right now, it certainly seems like it.
Especially with the results coming out right now. Louisville City get a goal in the 88th minute, and they're going to move up. Ottawa Fury safe and secure in their playoff spot. For Loudoun United, you got to find a way. If you're going to play 2 sitters in the middle and you have a pivot, that second midfielder, a la Moses Nyman, has to do better connecting the dots. Ottawa Fury will get excited for the fact that they get a little bit of a rest. No more midweek games. But St. Louis FC comes to town on the weekend. They will do battle with a team that is struggling to find points and remain relevant in the playoff race.
Well, that's going to do it for our producer, Tim McDermott, director, Red Osejo, and our replay operator, Mr. Bradley Canfield. Tyler Terrence saying so long for now for the likes of Devin Kerr. The final score from Leesburg, Virginia. Ottawa 3, Loudoun United 1. Ottawa keeping pace in the playoff hunt. Loudoun United got a lot of work to do and might be out of it. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.